Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be showing you guys how to draft a basic corset pattern. It's very simple and very beginners friendly. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So we're going to start now. We have our pattern paper. It's in a fold. So the first thing you want to do is to draft out the basic bodies on this pattern paper. So I'll go ahead now and draw a line, the starting line. So this starting line is going to be our shoulder line. So from my shoulder now to my bust point is 10 inches. So I'll mark 10 inches here. Then from my shoulder to my under bust is 13.5 inches. And then from my shoulder to my waist is 16 inches, which is the full length of the pattern paper. So I'll go ahead now and extend these points horizontally. So go ahead now to label the lines. The first line is your shoulder line. The second line is your bust line. The third is your under bust and your waistline. So after labeling all the points, the next thing you want to do now is to mark your shoulder to shoulder measurements divided by 2. So for me, I have 16 inches divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So I'll go ahead now and place 8 inches on the shoulder line. So from this 8 inches I marked, I'll come down by my round armhole measurements divided by 2, which is 9 inches. Then I'll extend the line horizontally. So I'll label this line as my chest line. So from this 8 inches point, I'm going to just connect it down to meet my chest line. So I'll take my curved ruler now and just form my armhole curve. So we're just trying to draft out a basic bodies here. We might not be needing most of these things as the video progresses. Just draft my armhole curve. Then I'll come over to that point and come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. And I'll connect it down to meet the shoulder line. So the next thing you want to do now is to place your dart. So your dart measurement is your nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. So for me, I have 4 inches. So I'll go ahead now and mark 4 inches on all the lines. So take your ruler now and connect all the points together, forming a straight line. So after doing that, this is what we have. So after marking out the darts, the next thing now is to move to the corset proper. So I'm going to take my measurement now from my bust points down to my under bust. So for me, I have 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to place my tape rule on the bust line and mark 3.5 inches all the way around, as you can see in the video. So whatever measurement you have between your bust and your under bust, just mark it all around as you can see me doing in the video. Or if you have a protractor, you can also use that to do it. So make sure your tape rule is stable on your bust point while you take it all around it, as you can see. Mark it all around as you can see me doing in the video, back to the point where you started from. So right now, I'm going to take my pen now and trace the circle out very well so that you can see it clearly. So after tracing out the circle, this is what we have. You can see it's a full circle all around it. So the next thing you want to do now is to come over to your waistline and place your dart. So I'm going to take out 1 inch on both sides of the waistline. So note that if you are on the small side, you can make use of 0.5 inches to 0.7 inches. So on the under bust line, I'm going to take out 1 inch on both sides as well. Then I'll connect the 2 points together. Using my ruler, I'll form a straight line connecting the under bust to the waistline. Then I'll go over to my bust line and come down by 1 inch. So I'll just mark 1 inch below my bust point. And then I'll use my French curve to connect the points together, forming a curve this way. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. So I'll just take my ruler now and extend this line to meet the circle. So I'll mark out the same dot I have there at the top. So I'll take out 1 inch on both sides of the line this way. And then I'll use my French curve to connect it to meet the bust point. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. So after doing that, this is what we have. So the next thing we want to do now is to determine how much space we want between our two cups. So for me, I want about 2 inches gap between the cups. So I'm going to come in by 1 inch now, so that when I open up, it's going to be 2 inches gap between the two cups. So I'll go ahead now and use my curved ruler to connect the point from the dot down to the new point I marked, as you can see. So I will also connect it to meet the upper point, to meet the upper dot. So because we've truncated the size of our cup by coming in by 1 inch, I will come out here now by 0.5 inches so that our cup will not be too tight on the body. So I'll connect it, the new point now, down to meet the that line, as you can see. Then I'll also connect the upper part to meet the dot point. So you can see our cup is already coming out, and you can see how beautiful it looks. So we're only going to be cutting out the part we marked using the marker. So you can disregard every other line on the pattern. So the next thing I want to do now is to place our round body measurement on the pattern. So I'm starting with my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches, and I'll go ahead and mark it there. Then I'll go ahead and place my under bust measurements divided by 4 and mark out the points there. And then my waist measurements divided by 4. I'll go ahead and mark out the points there. So on my under bust point, I have about 2 inches that. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my pattern. And on the waistline, I have 2 inches that also. So I'm also going to take into account the that I have at the top of my cup, which is about 2 inches. I'll be adding it to my chest line also. So after doing that, I'll go ahead now and connect all the points together. Using my ruler, I'll connect all the points together. Then I'll go ahead and take out 1 inch for seam allowance on all the sides. So I'll mark 1 inch on all the lines for my seam allowance. So for the armhole, I'm going to place my curved ruler this way and just form a slight curve, as you can see in the video. I'll just curve it out this way since it's a tube pattern. So this is basically all you'll be needing for the front panel of your corset pattern. You can see how simple it is. So the next we want to do now is to cut it out. So go ahead to cut out the pattern this way, as you can see in the video. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'm going to open it up for you guys to see. So this is what it looks like. So before I open up the cups, I'm going to use it to cut out the back panel. For the back panel, I have my pattern paper cut out already. So I'll label that part as my zipper allowance, which is about 1.5 inches. Go ahead and place your front panel on the back panel this way, as you can see. Then I'll go out and trace out the front panel on the back panel. I'll trace out the armhole curve also. And then for the neckline, I'll just maintain the same neckline I used for the front panel. You can decide to bring yours lower. So this is basically all you need for the front panel, for the back panel. So I'll go ahead and use my ruler now to connect the 2 points together. So go ahead to connect the 2 points together this way. So the next thing we want to do now is to place our darts on the back panel. So from the zipper allowance, come in by 4 inches. That is my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. So it can be anything for you. So I'll draw it up to meet the line. Then I'll take out 1 inch on both sides of the line. So for a small size person, you can use 0.7 inches or 0.5 inches. And then I'll connect the points this way. So this is our dart for the back panel. So the next thing you want to go ahead and do now is to cut it out. So after cutting out, I'm just going to go ahead and notch the dart point, then open up the paper. I'll open it up this way. So we are done with the back panel. So I'm going to set this aside now while we open up the front panel. So I'm going to go ahead now and open up the front panel. So watch closely as I do that. So watch closely so that you know the parts to cut out and the parts that you're going to need. So after cutting out the front panel, this is what you should have. This is what it should look like. You can see the darts neatly done. So this is the back panel pattern. This is the front panel pattern. So you can always extend this pattern to a full blouse or anyhow you want it. This is just by half length. I just wanted to use it to illustrate the video. So I'll go ahead now and label the part of the pattern. So guys, this is the finished product of our corset pattern. This is the center front, the cup 1, cup 2, the sides and the back. So in our next video, I'll be showing you guys how to apply this pattern to your fabric. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in my